2 million people affected by heat wave and plumbing restrictions. Here's what you can do. In this video, well, I'm gonna point out some things to you, but then I'm gonna tell you what you can do to help. And really, it's very simple. So first of all, let me tell you about the population here in Texas, actually north central Texas. From July 2020 to July 2021, that little 1 year period, Texas had 97,290 new people, okay? Just North Texas, just this Dallas-Fort Worth area.
New numbers from the U.S. Census are in, and North Texas racked up the largest population gain out of any metro area in the entire country. In a 1 year period, nearly 98,000 people moved to Dallas-Fort Worth.
So that means the Dallas-Fort Worth area got 267 people a day. Now this is going to come in really handy in a minute, because after I tell you what all is wrong and what we're having to do, well, I'm going to tell you what I think should have been done. The city of Plano, Texas, issued a notice yesterday asking their citizens to restrict water flow through at least Wednesday. Now, notice I said at least because I think this is actually going to last quite a bit longer.
I asked them how long are customers expected to reduce the amount of water they're using. They don't have a timeline for it. The only thing they can say is that crews have been working around the clock this weekend.
How are they asking them to do that? Well, that's really not a problem. They're just asking them not to water their grass. Well, here in Texas, we still have to water our houses. I know that sounds weird. We water our foundation to keep it from getting dry, getting wet, expanding and contracting. That's what causes foundation issues here. And as you've heard me talk about, slab leaks. That's why we specialize in leak detection. This actually comes from a notice issued Saturday by the North Texas Municipal Water District. Now, that's who actually sells water to these cities, to the municipalities.
Gotta have that 3 or 4 days in a row to make sure it's leveled out and we don't have another episode that we run out again and then we're right back in the ball with water notes. So we need to get everything straightened out for 4 or 5 days in order to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Meanwhile, discussions reportedly underway about the future water supply for this fast-growing corner of Rockwall County.
So it goes from the North Texas Municipal Water District, which is a treatment plant, then it goes out to the municipalities, and then it goes out to the homes. So the problem that the North Texas Municipal Water District ran into is one of the treatment centers. Now, here's what's funny. They're saying it's not about quality of water, it's about quantity of water. And when it gets hot in Texas, I don't know why, but apparently we use a lot more water.
The RCH Water Company is the provider, but its water comes from the city of Rockwall. Rockwall never turned off the flow to these tanks. Its normal contribution continued. However, RCH tells me residents yesterday used 6 times the normal rate of water.
I don't know that people start going out and watering their yard just because it's hot or anything. And don't get me wrong, we're under a drought right now. The North Texas Municipal Water District has asked these 10 counties. First of all, Collin County, Rockwall, Kaufman, North Dallas County, Denton, Grayson, Rains, Hopkins. I know this doesn't mean a lot to a lot of y'all, but also Van Zant counties. Now, here's the deal. This affects about 2 million people. So when 2 million people are asked to restrict water and start conserving their water, well, what does that do? Well, it makes people kind of wonder what's going on.
Officials here in Wiley tell me one of the 4 water treatment plants are in need of desperate service. They are asking millions of customers to please limit the use of water outdoors and indoors. The emergency repair at the North Texas Municipal Water District affects people living in Collin, Rockwall, North Dallas, and Kaufman counties.
So the North Texas Municipal Water District, they've got 6 sediment basins that's used to move 210 million gallons of water a day. Now, normally these basins, the North Texas Municipal Water District can normally handle the 380 million gallons a day that they produce for North Texas. With us being in drought type conditions and with it getting as hot as it had, don't know if y'all seen the temperature, but it's hot here. I mean, it's really hot. We're setting record temperatures. So they're talking today is going to be over 110 degrees. But here's the deal. Over the last week, instead of the 380 million gallons it normally produces, last week it was calling for 600 million gallons a day.
North Texas Municipal Water District tell us it's because of the rising and peak demands for water during the extreme heat. They are putting a call of action to the 10 county service areas to do all they can to reduce water.
I have a garden, but how long I'm going to have it will be interesting to find out if we don't get any water.
But think about this. What is it that we do to use more water? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you some ideas. Number one, turn off your sprinkler system for about a week, at least a week. Just go in, shut it off, it's not gonna matter. If you need to water around your house, put soaker hoses out, turn them on, and then turn them off. And do this overnight so the evapotranspiration doesn't take place and that water just evaporate. Makes sense. What are you doing to conserve water at home? Now, I've talked about this before, but are you leaving the water running when you're brushing your teeth, when you're shaving? What are you doing around your house that you're like, hey, you know what? I could cut back just a little bit and use half as much water. Just not watering your grass is gonna do most of that. But let's go back and look at what we talked about here. Here's where I have issues. I don't know if it's the municipalities or the North Texas Municipal Water District, but guys, the population in Texas keeps growing. Are we not shutting down and maintaining our systems like we should be? Why are we waiting? Remember what we had, the freeze 2020? Well, it didn't just freeze pipes and break them. It didn't just shut down our power grid, but we had problems at our water treatment centers too. They're not set up for freezing. I understand that. Did we learn a lesson? Are they set up for it now? Hey guys, let me tell y'all something from a plumber's point of view. There's more people moving to North Texas every day. Do you need the numbers? 267 people a day. What are we doing about it?
Holland and Denton County saw the most population growth in our area, with nearly 65,000 new residents combined.
What are we doing to prepare for it? Do y'all know that this is going to keep happening? We're not just going to close the doors one day and say, hey, we don't want anybody else. So go back and look at the things that I've talked about. What can we do to conserve water? People, look. It's up to us to cut back on water. We can't blame the North Texas Municipal Water District for everything. And when we do try to blame them, remember, when taxes go up and they want that money to build new infrastructure, to do things, and we say no, this is kind of what happens. How is it in your area? If you live in the United States, let me ask you, do you think it's crazy when we talk about water restrictions down here? Does that ever happen where you live? If you're in California, if you're in Texas, I know it does. But if you're not, and you're not having water restriction problems, what kind of problems do y'all have? Now, I talked about this in a video just the other day about why water should be more expensive. If we doubled or tripled the price of water, which don't get me wrong, it wouldn't hurt most people. But if we doubled or tripled the price of it, people would think about it and definitely not be using 600 million gallons a day. Guys, it's up to us. I'm asking you to conserve water. Shut it off when you're not using it. Turn off your irrigation system to your yard right now and understand you can turn it back on again next week. Anyway, I hope you got something good out of this. If you're a plumber, let me ask you this. Are you recommending water conserving devices to your customers, or are you teaching them how to take the flow restrictors out of the shower heads? That's up to you. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, helping you make more money in the trades.